Hey YouTube, so I am here to talk about the Get Out movie.
You got your toothbrush?
Check.
Do you have your deodorant?
Check.
Do you have your cozy clothes?
Got that.
What?
Do they know I'm black?
I went to see it a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was a great movie filled with so much symbolism, and I really enjoyed the movie. So I want to talk about some of the symbols I picked up on in the movie, some of the subtle messages I picked up in the movie. And before I start, I want to talk about how a lot of people feel like this movie and the Nat Turner movie told the same exact story, but this movie was not so blatant with their message. It was very subtle. There was a lot of symbolism. Like, it's very similar. It's very like spot on with the Nat Turner story, but because the Nat Turner story was overshadowed with so much controversy, a lot of people didn't get the message because a lot of people didn't go see it. So one of the first symbols I picked up on was the music. In the beginning, in the opening scene with the main character Chris, there is the Childish Gambino song playing with if you know the lyrics, you know a lot of the lyrics talk about how you gotta stay woke, don't let them catch you sleeping. Basically, it's telling you to wake up, right there with the main character. The next symbol is the woman drives, Chris and his white girlfriend drive upstate New York to go to her parents' house for the weekend, and the woman is driving. The fact that the woman is driving the car, to me, that just symbolizes that although Chris is the man in the relationship, the woman basically controls the relationships and tells it and kind of drives where it's going. She has control of the relationship. That's what I picked up on.
Message!
The next symbol is, while they're driving, they hit a deer on the way there. They hit a deer. Chris is really affected by the that they hit, that is now dead on the side of the road. So he wants to pull over the car. He pulls over. If they pull over, he get out, and he's like looking at this deer, and he's really affected by this deer being dead on the side of the road. It affects him for some reason, and you're kind of like, I was watching it like, why is he so affected by this deer? So later it connects. So he's affected by this deer. It bothers him that the deer is dead, and when the police arrive, he asks for Chris' ID, of course, because he's black.
Just heading up for the weekend.
Can I see your license, please?
He wasn't driving.
I didn't ask who was driving. I asked to see his...
But the police officer's white, and the girlfriend's white, and they're talking whatever. And they both neglect to just acknowledge the fact that there's a dead animal on the side of the road that they both just hit. The only one who seems to be acknowledging this deer's life is Chris. He's the only one who acknowledges the deer's life, and he's the only one who seems to be affected by the fact that this deer is dead. And he's the only one who seems to care. Like, the other two white characters in this scene don't care at all. So they get to the parents' house, and the dad is like, oh, while they're talking, the dad is like, oh, don't care about that deer. Who cares? I wish they all die. They should all die. They're overpopulating the earth. So I can't stand those deer. And then it clicks. And then it's like, oh, that deer represented the black population. That's why Chris was so connected to the deer. That's why it bothered him so much that the deer was dead.
Message!
And that's why the other two white characters in that scene didn't seem to care that they just killed a deer, you know? Because that deer symbolized and represented black people. So throughout the movie, Chris has a best friend back home who's a black guy, and he's basically communicates with him on his phone.
Never seen you like this before, bro. Meeting families, taking road trips. Don't come back all bougie, man. Come back, get your damn pants up to your damn stomach.
Communicates with him off and on, and every time he talks to him, he has like a flash of like consciousness, like he wakes up. And to me, I feel like that that symbolizes just like your home base, your root. You have to stay connected to your roots. You have to know your history. You have to have a sense of community within the black community. Only we can consciously wake one another. no one else is going to do it for us. So that's what that symbolized for me. Also, there are 3 other black characters on this plantation, in this neighborhood, who are hypnotized.
We hired Georgina and Walter to help care for my parents. When they died,
Let me go back a little bit. The mom is a hypnotist, the dad's a neurosurgeon, and the brother is like this hippie looking dude. So the mom talks to Chris the first night about how she can hypnotize him out of his smoking addiction, right? This night, Chris couldn't sleep. He get up, he go outside, have a cigarette, come back in. The mom's there. The mom hypnotizes him out of his smoking addiction. The next day, he said, hey, I think your mom hypnotized me, to his girlfriend. She laughs it off. Oh, but he was like, I don't have a craving for cigarettes anymore. And she's like, oh, well, it worked. I'm sorry. My mom did that, but at least it worked. You don't want to smoke anymore. Not only did she hypnotize him to not want to smoke anymore, she also hypnotized him into not to, like, basically mind control. She starts to control and manipulate him mentally. And you get subtle flashes of that throughout the movie. Also, Chris is encountered with these black people throughout the movie. The 3 black people who are in the house and around the house. There's a party going on. All of these white guests come, and there's one guest, a white woman with the hypnotized black man, who looks like a sharecropper. Like, he's dressed really weird and his behavior is really weird, and Chris notices this and he takes a picture of him. But when that camera flashes, he wakes up. Like, the character wakes up and he has this flash of consciousness, and he yells at Chris, get out, get out, get out. And then the mother whisks him away, hypnotizes the black character again, and he's back to normal. But to me, that light, that flash of consciousness, symbolizes the light of knowledge, the light of consciousness, just the
Message!
3 other black characters who were hypnotized in this movie. And during this
we hired Georgina and Walter to help care for my parents. When they died,
party they were having, where basically the black people were on display, and there was a silent auction during this party that Chris knew nothing about. They were auctioning him off, the black character, the boyfriend of the daughter, and of course that symbolizes slavery. Of course, the silent auction is going on with selling this guy off. Slavery, direct correlation to slavery, but also in sports, you know, you have athletes being drafted. Basically, it's an auction, but yeah.
Message!
Another symbol, or just a message in the movie, was the relationship between the black woman and the black man. The character Chris thinks that this black woman is so, like, angry that he's with his white girlfriend, because he basically says, I think Georgina is the black woman. I think Georgina is the reason why my phone isn't being charged. I think she's unplugging it on purpose. Girlfriend says, oh, you're bugging, you're crazy, no, why would she do that? And then he approaches Georgina about it. Georgina blames herself, even though what you see happen is Georgina's hypnotized. She's going through her own issues, her own turmoil. And instead of Chris acknowledging her own turmoil and suffering, he's ready to blame the black woman for his problem automatically. He's ready.
Message!
Which basically symbolizes the man against the woman, the black man against the black woman. The tension that sometimes exists between within the same race, between the genders. And Chris is so asleep and so sunken, so hypnotized, he doesn't realize that Georgina ain't thinking about him. Georgina is going through her own issues. She ain't thinking about him. So that happens, and that just basically speaks to that dynamic. Black man thinking that the black woman is so jealous of his relationship with the white woman, when really she could care less. She got her own issues she going through. So, and another part of the movie that reminded me of Lil Wayne, and I'll tell you why. Chris goes outside to the groundskeeper. He's trying to forge a friendship with him, like trying to connect with him, talking about how so many white people around. He get nervous around so many whites, and he smiles. The groundskeeper smiles at him and says, that's not my experience at all. And Chris is like, what? Like,
thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean? Just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police and for a reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands Black matter these days, I don't know what it is. That man white, he filming me. I don't know what you mean. Don't come at me with that dumb.
So that reminded me of Lil Wayne. He had that interview. He said he doesn't experience racism. He's never experienced racism.
At the age of 12 years old, I shot myself. I was in the house. Police knocked on the door. I was right there. They knocked the door down. Everybody jumped over my body to go get the guns and drugs and whatever they could find. It took one guy to stop right there and cuss everybody that hopped over me out. Like, what the f***
are y'all doing? I said, oh, no, we was going to see if it, what the f*** are y'all doing? We called the ambulance. Ambulance, do you not see this kid on the floor with this hole in his chest? I said, you drive. Pick me up. Brought me to the hospital. He didn't drop me off at the ambulance and say, you take him. He brought me to the hospital room and made two and stood there and waited till the doctor said he's gonna make it.
He said, don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob. He was white as snow. Them that hopped over me was blacker than me.
Exactly what that scene was speaking to. Black people who feel like that. Black people who act like they are not connected to one another. Black people who act like their experiences are just their individual experiences and they have never been through racism, who are in denial of the truth. And that's basically why that scene reminded me of Lil Wayne. And it's a great movie, a lot of good symbols. These are like the symbols I picked up, basically what I was able to pick up on while watching the movie and thinking about it after I seen it like a week ago. So I know there's tons more. Comment what you picked up on below, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Bye.
Well, my life matters, especially to my connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me. If you do, you crazy as you, not the camera, you. Feeling connected to something that ain't got nothing to do with you. If it ain't got nothing to do with me, I ain't connected.
The fuck is he talking about?
Stay